Have you ever heard the question, is your glass full or is it empty? Have you ever wondered why we have people who say, I am a pessimist, or I am an optimistic, or I'm a realist? And these are questions that many of us will find ourselves thinking through. Hi, my name is Grace Kariuki. Welcome to Live by Design with Grace Kariuki, where I talk and I have conversations about temperaments, personalities, and relationships. The melancholic personality will cause a lot of people to wonder why they tend to worry about the future. They keep trying to focus on problems that have not yet happened. The melancholic temperament tends to have quite a bit of fears of the future, and they want to be a planner. They plan, they strategize, and they are going to take a lot of time before they make a decision because they are trying to make sure that everything will be perfect. The melancholic temperament is focused on things happening the right way, but also the goal being reached. And so you will find that they will ruminate a lot on what needs to happen. The fears of the future, the fear of the unknown, is one of the emotional struggles of the melancholic temperament. They will anticipate problems to happen in the future, which is a good thing because then it guides them into a space where they can create strategies on how to create solutions for things that might happen in the future. That is not wrong in itself. It is not a bad thing. It is when it becomes a rumination that causes individuals now to get stuck in a space where they cannot move forward, they cannot move backwards, they just feel stuck in a space. So when we say whether the glass is half full or half empty, you will find as a melancholic, you will probably keep thinking that the glass is half empty. So what your partner, who might be thinking the glass is half full, will feel that you are constantly focusing on the negative. And this is something you need to be self-aware as a melancholic so that you can move through that space into a space where you can balance out the fear of the future plus what you can do now to avert that fear. Now, if you do not have the skill of creating solutions for the problems that you anticipate, you will get stuck in a space of helplessness because you are thinking about that problem and then you project that it's going to happen and you are unable to get out of that loop of constantly thinking, if this happens, then this will happen, then that will happen, and you get into feelings of powerlessness, which can lead to hopelessness. So one of the tips that you would need to use is to be able to create solutions. So anticipate the problem and then create a possible solutions to that problem in the future. And always remember that you don't want to focus too much into the future that you forget to live now, because your future is a combination of what is happening right now. The choices that you are making right now can now create the kind of future that you desire. For instance, a practical example is you are in a relationship with a person who is probably a choleric. They are more goal directed, and you are also goal directed, but you are also focused on how to get there. So you can stay in this how to get there and really waste a lot of time, resources, and personal energy because you want the getting there to be as perfect as possible so that the goal can become whatever it is that you want. So if you are together, you are in a relationship with a choleric, they will get very frustrated with your need to perfect the getting there. So, but the choleric is thinking, well, as long as we get there, then how we get there is not that important. And you as a melancholic, you're saying, no, how we get there is very important. For instance, I may be caught by the police for overspeeding. If I am a melancholic, I am going to be quick to say I am sorry, to apologize for and accept that I made a mistake. A choleric, on the other hand, they are going to create a story about why the mistake happened because they want to get out of it. Their goal, both of you have the same goal of explaining to the policeman so that he can let you go. But then how to do that is going to be different, and that can create friction within your relationship. One of your strengths as a melancholic is honesty and integrity. And the choleric is going to be, yes, they are going to be honest, but when it calls for them to tell a white lie in order for them to get to the goal, and usually the goal is I don't want to get into trouble, then that is where you will collide. And it's important to understand these differences because they can create a lot of havoc in your relationship where you are starting to fight about that process and actually diminish the joy and the contentment in your relationship. Understanding the different ways that you get to the goal with your partner is very important so that you can support each other, but also you can create what we might call a middle ground where you meet. Relationships thrive when people agree. And when you are in constant disagreement, what happens is that the joy, the energy, the positive energy of the relationship will be sucked out by this constant disagreement. Now, so there are some things I usually say. As a melancholic, you would need to learn how to let go of some things. So ask yourself, how important is this in the bigger picture, in the overall picture? How important is the way that I am holding on to an opinion? And then I also want to ask myself as a melancholic is what is the benefit of my partner seeing things the way I see them, so that I can be able to move away from that space of being so stuck and inflexible. Because melancholics do struggle with psychological flexibility, moving away from the black or white into the gray. The other thing that you will find is that even as melancholics are perfectionists, they also are quite judgmental. They will be judgmental about themselves and about others, and they will find themselves unable to get into a space where they feel free, where they are not caught up in a lot of emotional distress because things are not perfect. When you are a melancholic and worrying too much about the future, again, remember the solution there to avoid the rumination about fears of the future is to create possible solutions and then start acting on them so that you can be able to see that if that thing happens that I'm afraid of, these are the ways that I will deal with. The reason why we get stuck as melancholics in the fear of the unknown is because we tend to have a belief that if that thing that I am predicting, that bad thing that I'm predicting happens, I won't be able to survive. And that is a lie, because as human beings, we are very adaptive, we are very resilient, and so we will be able to overcome it. The fear we have is the experience of pain, the experience of discomfort. And life has taught me, and wisdom has taught me, that whenever we are in a space where we have to endure discomfort, it is an area of growth. It is an opportunity of breaking away from comfort and becoming a better person, but also increasing my emotional resilience. So I want to encourage any melancholic that is listening, and you get yourself caught up in the fear of the unknown, to understand, number one, that you will survive it, and number two, it is an opportunity. Pain and feelings of discomfort are opportunities for growth and opportunities for personal breaking away from this comfort space and becoming more and more alive and thriving, because that causes your brain to create more ideas. But if we stay in the same space all the time, we think the same thoughts, we think the same fearful thoughts, we will always stay in that stuck place. And so I hope this is helpful. Reach out to me. I would be very honored to walk with you personally, or to walk with you in your relationship, to continue to create a life that you can design and be happy about, but also to have relationships that are mutually satisfying. Until next time, continue to live by design.